Hello everybody! Being a geek, as I am, digging into the inside of my DGX Spark is a fun thing to do, seeing how much power fits into such a small device. This is Stef from Samayas and welcome to my channel. So, I did a previous intro video about this DGX Spark. The DGX Spark I bought was the most basic one, and so of course the cheapest. And it only has a 1TB M.2 SSD drive. The SSD drive inside my DGX Spark is of a size of 2242 and not the standard 2280. Now, I got myself a bigger M.2 2TB version. Well, that's double the 1TB, right? Unfortunately, the 4TB version seems to be hard to get, especially the Gen 5 PCIe version. Also, currently the 1TB M.2 drive inside this DGX Spark is only PCIe Gen 4, and even my upgraded 2TB version is of PCIe Gen 4, even though a DGX Spark supports PCIe Gen 5. For now, 2TB seems more than enough, but time will tell. Now, of course, this system only supports one M.2 SSD drive, and even though hardware-wise it's only a matter of unscrewing and rescrewing in the new M.2 drive, right? Since I don't have a fancy M.2 to N.2 cloning device, the only way forward for me is to reinstall the whole system from scratch. Since I'm still in the initial phase of exploration, of course, I won't be losing much. Let's dig in. Now, on the bottom I have 4 little screws, which I'll try to unscrew. And now the plate should simply come off. Works like a charm. And now there's a lot more screws, so probably it is completely under this. And I need to redo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws this time. And now let's hope that this plate simply comes off. Yes, quite easy. And here we have the original, and a new one should just come on top. So again, one little screw, and this one comes out, and the new one is in. Now here we can still see the Wi-Fi. Let's see what happens if we remove this huge sink. And there's 2 fans sitting there. In the front I have all my extensions, and here in the back it's one big fan. And after loads of effort I was able to get it out. A huge heatsink, some wiring here. Down the bottom we have our power on button, and if you can see, very neat, very slim. Loads of copper. And from the other side, there's even a small little battery, of course, to maintain time. And here we have a very small cable for the LED indicator. Really awesome design. Screwing it back together is just the other way around, right? At least I hope. And now I simply have to put this plate back on, like this. And this is metal, but this is kind of plastic. And now simply putting back on the top plate, and as you can see, there's a right way and there's a wrong way, which of course is good. So this is the right way. And it's upgraded. So now that I have replaced my 1TB M.2 drive with a 2TB M.2 drive, My OS on my DGX Spark is gone, and I need to reinstall everything from scratch. So I surf to the ASUS website and to the page ASUS Ascent GX10. Then I go to the support section, and under the support section we have drivers and tools. And under the driver and tools, if I scroll down, I can select an OS, but of course it is Linux, or rather Ubuntu. And here I have the NVIDIA DGX OS for ASUS. And I simply need to download it. And keep in mind, it is almost 10 gigabytes big. And so my download started. And now in my folder, they delivered a tar file. So I need to open it up. There's a subdirectory, and then there's one big ISO. And so I'll copy that back. And now my ISO is available. And now I started up my Rufus. I have a USB-C drive in my PC. I'm going to select the ISO, and the only thing I'm going to do is press start and wait until my ISO is written. And I'm going to choose the ISO image mode. And so apparently my latest Rufus version includes grub 214 and it needs grub 212. So I allow him to connect to the internet and to attempt to download grub 212. And now he's going to do his job. And it's finally done. So this is the first boot without any OS on. And here, of course, it fails because there's no media present anymore. And so we can clearly see first it tries boot drive, and if that fails, it tries to boot over PXE. And without doing anything, at the end, he simply goes to the BIOS, which is kind of nice. And so, having a quick look at the BIOS, it's an American Megatrends version 536, UEFI 2.9. And so if we go into the advanced settings, power on behavior, only after power button is pressed, or you can put an auto boot on. Currently, the trusted boot configuration is disabled, and I'm not going to change it. The UEFI variables protection at runtime is also disabled. The network stack configuration is enabled. PXE support is enabled for IPv4, but not for IPv6. HTTP support and everything for IPv6 is disabled. And here again, we have all the firmware versions. And here again, we have the whole firmware version for each specific device inside the DGX. If we go to the NVMe configuration, it detected my Corsair MP600 Micro, and it detected my 2 TB drive, which is good. I can do a self drive test on it if I want, or I can simply only test the controller. TLS authorization configuration. There is a server certificate which we could enroll or not. And if we go to the advanced menu, I can have DRAM encrypted, and a watchdog timer is by default enabled. And a watchdog timer is by default enabled should a crash occur. By default, my wireless LAN and Bluetooth are enabled. And if you want, and you put this device somewhere in a server room, you can disable both wireless and Bluetooth. And on the BIOS menu itself, we can even configure VLAN, which in some scenarios can be handy or even necessary. Or of course, we can do it to the Ubuntu OS. And also, we have specific MAC configuration for IPv4, which is currently disabled. And since I've only have one network cable, an RJ45 in there, it is probably for that interface. Security-wise, and in some scenarios, that might be a good thing. We can set an admin password to go into the BIOS, and even a user password if we want to boot. And I even have the option through security to completely clear, or they call it sanitize, my NVMe device. That's also a nice thing. If you want to resell this, you simply through the BIOS wipe everything clean, and even on Ubuntu, secure boot is enabled. And now, my boot configuration, since it doesn't find any previous boot devices anymore, has switched automatically to an UEFI, and if I probably insert a USB stick, I can change that to take a USB stick as first. And if during boot I want to have more details, I can disable the quiet boot and it'll show more of the screen instead of simply the logo. And so currently, as a boot option, I only have the UEFI PXE, and there's even a DGX OS recovery. But currently, no USB drives are found. And then finally, I have the delete boot option. And if I'm done, I can save my settings. I can discard my settings. I can save and reset. I can discard and reset. Or I can simply save and continue to play around. And now, I've inserted my USB stick on which I've installed the DGX OS. And if we now simply go to the DGX OS recovery, I was hoping to be able to do something, but unfortunately, the only thing it shows is that it identifies a USB drive, and maybe some of the things are still not okay. It found my USB drive, it found the FAT partition, it found the EFI boot, however, it did not find the bootloader, and so it considers this stick as being failed. And now I've inserted my USB stick. It is still doing checking media, and it identified my USB stick, which is positive. I have the option DGX Spark installation options, so I'll take that. And here now I have a number of extra options. Install DGX Spark OS 7.4 for DGX. Install the DGX OS without NVIDIA drivers, but I don't see the point in that. I have advanced install options. And so in the advanced options, first we have the Subiquity installer, and that is Ubuntu's modern installer for server-style installation. And there I'll be completely in text style instead of a GUI install. And the second option, install DGX OS with encrypted root drive, at some point will prompt me for a password, but it also implies that on each restart I'll have to enter a password. And if you want to use this as a workstation and be very secure, this is the way forward. However, I want to use my DGX as a headless device and simply power it on. And I don't really have any confidential information on there, so I'll go back to the normal one. And then, of course, we have boot into rescue shell or check media for defects. So I'll simply first try install DGX OS for DGX Spark. And it's doing something. And this is a secondary boot. And so this is the first boot on. It did detect a keyboard and mouse, which is good. And I had to first use my mouse and click on a key for my keyboard for both to become green. So now I can choose continue. And it's first asking me for a language, and that I leave on US English. And it's asking me for a time zone, and I choose Europe, Luxembourg, and I choose continue. And now it wants my keyboard. And for that, I choose French. And now I need to accept a big license agreement. So I first need to scroll down completely to the bottom, and then I can accept. And of course, I read every line of it right. And then I need to enter a username and a password. And I entered my username and password, and I choose continue. And here we have a choice to transmit analytics or not, and that personally I'll disable, but that's just me. And now the setup process continues. So now let's log in, and my DGX Spark is reinstalled. And now, if I simply type bow from Baobab, I have my disk analyzer, and we can clearly see my disk now has 2 terabytes instead of 1 terabyte. Mission accomplished, right? And so, even though during the install process he seemed to have updated everything, when I launched the software updater, there's still some updates missing, unfortunately. And of course, I'll reboot again. And so finally, everything is back up to date. Now, of course, each scenario is different. For some, 1 terabyte is enough. For others, even 4 terabytes won't be enough. Thanks God, the model sizes for the LLMs still are not at 4 terabyte. And the rest, of course, is how you can balance things. And from time to time, resetting an OS might still be a good idea and handy as well. If you guys enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell sign. Or leave a comment down below.